The kickflip is an ollie with a small flip added into it. So, of course, to do a kickflip, you're going to need good ollies. You should have the timing good enough so that when you pop, you should be able to lift the back of the board up immediately, or almost immediately, and your back foot should be really closely followed by the back of the board. If you pop the board and your back leg is this far away from the bottom of the board, that's not going to work. So you're going to have to work on your ollies if that's happening. And you should also be able to ollie about 6 to 12 inches, preferably up a small curb, because you have to just have them pretty consistent too and be able to land clean. You don't necessarily need to land over the bolts. You can land tail, but if you land like on the nose like this, then you need to work on your landings, because if you're going to land like that, then you're going to probably not even land on the board for a kickflip. Now, the reason I'm really emphasizing how to ollie is because basically a lot of people that are just learning kickflips, they think that it's some completely new trick and that you're going to need to learn completely new footing, completely new motions of your legs, but really you have to just think of it as an ollie with a small flip added into it, because it's really that simple. So if you're extremely comfortable with your ollies and you're really good at those, then you should be able to pick up the kickflip in no time. Now the footing, as you would assume, is pretty similar to that of an ollie. Your back foot should be somewhere on the tail. You could keep it in your regular ollie position. That's probably the best place to start. But if you feel you need to stabilize your back foot more, you could place it more on the tail. But I prefer somewhere halfway between the tip of the tail and a little on, so you get a little bit of both. And your front foot, unlike an ollie, you should have it an inch or two lower and slanted, so that way it's pointing toward this concave right here on the board, right where the nose begins, and it has to be slanted too with a little bit of heel hanging off. This is like the common position. Some people prefer to hang more of their foot off so it's easier to get that flip. Some people prefer to put on more of their foot when they do it because it gives them a little more control over the catch. But when you begin, you should probably start somewhere in the middle of the board with at least most of your heel hanging off, but play around with footing, see what works for you. Now, as for the actual kickflip itself, you're going to do everything the exact same as you would for your regular ollie. You would jump, you would pop the tail against the ground, and you would begin to slide your front foot up the nose when it's like this, because in order to flip the board, you have to have it like this. You can't be like halfway in the air already and then flick, because that's just going to probably send it into the ground like it has for me before. So the best way would be to wait, and you're going to slide your front foot up the exact same, except when you get to the end of the nose, instead of stopping here like you would for an ollie, you're going to instead flick off the side of the nose around here. Now, unlike the name says, it's not really a kick you do. It's more of a flick. It's a motion like this. And the flick you don't really do with your leg. You do it with your ankle. The flick is all in the ankle. The flip is all in the ankle. So you might want to emphasize rolling the ankle when you first do it. And when you feel it's around here, you're gonna do that nice fluid flick off the side like that with your ankle, and it should be like this out in front of the board, not too far out that you can't bring it back in time, but enough that it'll get the board the full flip and you can bring it back on time to land on it. And as for the rest of the trick, it's basically the same. You're gonna lift your back foot up and like you would for your regular ollie, and you're gonna give it time to flip, land, and roll away. So again, let me just review. You're gonna jump slightly earlier, pop the tail, slide your front foot up like you would for a regular ollie, flick off with your ankle, lift your back leg up, and then land and roll away. Sounds pretty similar to an ollie, doesn't it? Now the best way to learn these tricks is to first try landing them upside down, meaning you flip the board halfway and you land on it like this. The reason why is because if you land on top with both your feet on the bottom, then you're doing everything right. You just need to jump a little higher, pop a little harder, and flick a little faster. Unfortunately, I didn't know it when I was learning them, but I had the problem where I would flip it fully and land only with one foot. And really, if I had just practiced like that, I would have gotten it. Now, some other problems could be that the board, it lands halfway. There could be a few other problems for that. If you're doing the flip, it could be that you're kicking down instead of out, because I don't really know why, but for some reason, some people just kick down. They forget to continue the flick out to do it in the direction the board is. So just if you have to, just focus mostly on and watch your foot slide off the corner of the board in the direction that it's pointing, and maybe that'll work. Or you may just have to practice landing it upside down again. Another problem, and another way that the problem can exist, is that you just stop when you get off, because you're afraid you won't be able to bring your foot back in time, and so you flick here and then you just drop it. I personally never had that problem, but I know that a lot of you guys watching this probably will. You just have to continue with the flick. You can't be afraid to have it flip fully underneath you. And another problem could be that you're just that you're flipping the board, but it's shooting out in front of you, like over there. That problem could be that you just have too much of your foot on, or you're not rolling your ankle enough and giving it that flick. You're kind of kicking it, which you're not supposed to do. And it could also be you have to roll your ankle more. That's why it's sort of important to master the timing of flicking with your ankle and rolling it like that. Unfortunately, I hurt the side of my foot, so I can't really skate. So I'm just going to use some old examples from my other videos. Make sure you stay determined with this trick, because it is one of the most frustrating tricks to learn. This trick took me a while to learn, but you just have to stay committed. You can't really give up after only trying 10 minutes, because it's not going to come. You have to really practice, get the feeling, which you should have almost if you can ollie real well. And just keep the concept in mind that it's really an ollie with a small flip in it, because if you do, it'll probably make it a lot easier. And try landing upside down. And that's really all I have. Once again, good luck.